What if your muscles at 90 could still rebuild, regenerate, and perform like they did in your 40s? It may sound impossible, but the science emerging from cellular biology, gerontology, and nutritional biochemistry is telling us something extraordinary. Our muscles are not doomed to waste away simply because we age. The decline we associate with aging, the frailty, the weakness, the slow loss of balance and vitality is not an inevitable consequence of time. It is largely the result of micronutrient deficiencies, mitochondrial decay, and disrupted circadian biology. Here is what the research is showing. Muscle is not just tissue, it is a powerful endocrine organ. It releases signaling molecules called myelins that influence inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and even brain health. When muscle begins to deteriorate, a process known as sarcopenia, we are not merely losing strength. We are losing one of the body's most potent regulators of metabolism and longevity. Now here's the exciting part. Certain vitamins, when taken at night, specifically at the time your body is most actively engaged in repair, regeneration, and mitochondrial turnover, can profoundly enhance this rebuilding process. Why? Because nighttime is when growth hormone peaks, when autophagy and cellular repair accelerate, and when mitochondria renew themselves. By providing the right micronutrients at the right time, we can literally support the biochemical machinery that keeps muscles youthful even into our 80s and 90s. Here is what is happening at the cellular level. Each muscle cell contains thousands of mitochondria, the energy-producing organelles that generate adenosine triphosphate or ATP. These mitochondria are sensitive to oxidative stress, nutrient deficiencies, and circadian rhythm disruption. When they fail, muscle strength and endurance decline. But studies are now revealing that specific vitamins such as vitamin D, vitamin K2, vitamin B12, and vitamin E not only protect mitochondria, but also enhance muscle protein synthesis, reduce inflammation, and improve neuromuscular communication. This is not about taking random supplements. It is about understanding timing, synergy, and cellular context. For example, vitamin D modulates calcium signaling and gene expression related to muscle growth. Vitamin K2 ensures that calcium goes into muscle and bone rather than arteries. Vitamin B12 supports mitochondrial energy metabolism and red blood cell formation. And vitamin E acts as a lipid antioxidant that shields muscle membranes during recovery. Over the next few sections, we're going to break down exactly how each of these vitamins works, when and how to take them, and how they interact with your body's nighttime physiology. Because if we align our supplementation with the body's natural rhythms, we can restore muscle resilience even at 90 years old. Let us start with one of the most misunderstood yet powerful vitamins for muscle health, vitamin D. Most people think of vitamin D as the sunshine vitamin that keeps bones strong, but that definition barely scratches the surface. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin, it functions as a steroid hormone precursor that regulates over 1,000 genes involved in muscle growth, immune function, and mitochondrial metabolism. And here's the remarkable part. When taken in the evening, it can support the hormonal and genetic processes that occur during the body's nighttime repair cycle. Here is what is happening at the cellular level. When vitamin D enters the bloodstream, it binds to the vitamin D receptor VDR, a receptor present in nearly every cell, including skeletal muscle fibers. Once activated, this receptor turns on genes that control muscle protein synthesis, calcium handling, and mitochondrial biogenesis. In other words, it signals your muscle cells to rebuild and re-energize. Now, why does nighttime matter? Studies suggest that vitamin D may influence the expression of genes tied to circadian rhythm, including those that regulate growth hormone release and muscle repair. During sleep, growth hormone peaks and muscle cells increase protein synthesis to repair micro tears created during the day's physical activity. By ensuring adequate vitamin D status in the evening, you are essentially providing the molecular permission slip that tells muscle tissue, now is the time to rebuild. Low vitamin D status is strongly correlated with muscle weakness, reduced balance, and slower recovery in older adults. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology showed that seniors with optimal vitamin D levels had significantly greater muscle strength and physical performance than those deficient in it. Another trial found that correcting vitamin D deficiency improved mitochondrial function in muscle tissue, which translates to better endurance and energy utilization. Let me break this down with a simple example. Imagine your muscles as construction sites that repair themselves each night. Growth hormone acts as the foreman, signaling workers to start rebuilding. Vitamin D is the architect's blueprint. It contains the instructions for how to rebuild properly. Without that blueprint, the workers still show up, but they cannot construct anything efficiently. So how do you take vitamin D effectively? Research suggests that it is best absorbed with a meal that contains healthy fats such as olive oil, avocado, or salmon, since it is fat soluble. Evening intake can be particularly beneficial when paired with foods rich in magnesium and vitamin K2, as these nutrients work synergistically to activate vitamin D-dependent proteins and optimize calcium metabolism. If this breakdown is resonating with you so far, go ahead and press the hype button, drop a quick comment, and hit subscribe. It helps more people discover this kind of science-backed health content. To summarize, vitamin D sets the foundation for nighttime muscle repair. It activates genes responsible for protein synthesis, enhances mitochondrial energy output, and synchronizes with your circadian rhythm to optimize the body's natural recovery window. Without adequate vitamin D, especially in later life, your muscle repair machinery cannot fully switch on no matter how well you eat or train. In the next section, we will explore vitamin K2, the silent partner that ensures calcium, one of the most essential minerals for muscle contraction, ends up in your muscle and bone where it belongs rather than in your arteries where it can do harm. If vitamin D is the blueprint for muscle regeneration, then vitamin K2 is the construction supervisor that ensures every mineral goes exactly where it should. Without K2, even the benefits of vitamin D can backfire because the calcium that is mobilized under vitamin D's influence needs direction, and that is precisely what vitamin K2 provides. Here is what is happening at the cellular level. Vitamin K2 activates specific proteins called osteoclast and matrix GLA protein. Osteoclast helps bind calcium into the bone matrix, strengthening skeletal integrity, while matrix GLA protein prevents calcium from depositing in arteries and soft tissues. But here's the fascinating link. These same mechanisms also influence muscle contraction, energy metabolism, and cellular communication. Muscle fibers rely on precise calcium signaling to contract and relax. This calcium is stored within the cytoplasmic reticulum of muscle cells and is released during each contraction. If calcium is not properly regulated, muscle performance suffers. Vitamin K2 ensures that calcium cycles efficiently between storage and release, supporting both strength and endurance. Now, why consider vitamin K2 at night? During sleep, your body enters a phase of mineral redistribution and repair. Bone turnover accelerates, blood calcium levels fluctuate, and hormonal signals like growth hormone and melatonin modulate cellular regeneration. K2's presence during this window allows it to guide calcium into the tissues that need it most, bones, muscles, and mitochondria, while preventing excess accumulation in arteries or kidneys. This is what the research suggests, and here's why it matters. A study in nutrients found that older adults supplementing with vitamin K2 improved arterial flexibility and muscle function compared to those who did not. Another study linked higher K2 intake to greater muscle strength and reduced risk of falls in the elderly. When combined with vitamin D, the synergy becomes even more powerful. Vitamin D mobilizes calcium and K2 tells it where to go. Let me break this down with a simple example. Imagine vitamin D as a bright light that reveals where all the construction materials are stored. It mobilizes calcium and makes it available. Vitamin K2 is a logistics expert who directs those materials to the correct building sites. Without K2, calcium can end up where it does not belong, just as unplanned construction can lead to chaos rather than progress. Practically speaking, you can find vitamin K2 naturally in foods like natto, fermented soybeans, grass-fed butter, cheese, and egg yolks. However, these foods are often underrepresented in modern diets, particularly among older adults. A nighttime dose of K2 taken with vitamin D and a small amount of dietary fat can help coordinate the body's nocturnal calcium and muscle repair processes. If you are enjoying this breakdown, consider subscribing. I post weekly deep dives into longevity science, micronutrients, and how to align your lifestyle with your body's repair systems. To summarize, vitamin K2 ensures that the calcium mobilized by vitamin D is directed toward muscle and bone, not arteries. It supports muscle contraction, enhances mitochondrial efficiency, and protects vascular health, all essential elements for staying strong, mobile, and vital even at 90. In the next section, we will uncover vitamin B12, the cellular energizer that powers mitochondria, enhances nerve communication, and helps your muscles produce energy efficiently through every contraction and recovery cycle. If vitamin D and vitamin K2 form the foundation and structure of muscle regeneration, then vitamin B12 is the electricity that keeps the entire system running. Without it, the energy machinery inside your muscle cells, the mitochondria, simply cannot function efficiently. Vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin, is an essential nutrient that supports red blood cell formation, DNA synthesis, and most importantly, mitochondrial energy metabolism. Every time your muscle contracts, energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, is conserved. Vitamin B12 plays a central role in producing that ATP. It helps convert the food you eat, particularly fats and amino acids, into usable cellular energy. Here's what is happening at the cellular level. Inside the mitochondria, vitamin B12 acts as a coenzyme in the conversion of methyl-mono-CoA into cyclo-CoA, a key step in the Kb cycle, the biochemical pathway that generates ATP. Without adequate B12, this pathway slows down, leading to reduced ATP output, increased fatigue, and a buildup of metabolic waste that can damage muscle tissue. This is especially critical during the nighttime repair phase. When you sleep, your body shifts from energy expenditure to energy restoration. Mitochondria begin repairing their membranes, replacing damaged components, and preparing for the next day's energy demands. Vitamin B12 supports this mitochondrial maintenance process, allowing your muscles to wake up stronger and more resilient. Research shows that vitamin B12 deficiency is surprisingly common among older adults, partly because stomach acid, which is needed to absorb B12, declines with age. Low B12 levels are associated with reduced muscle mass, weakness, and even nerve dysfunction. In fact, a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with sufficient B12 had better muscle strength and mobility compared to those deficient. Another study linked B12 supplementation to improve mitochondrial density and function in skeletal muscle tissue. Let me break this down with a simple example. Imagine your muscle cell as a factory. The mitochondria are the engines that keep the machines running, and vitamin B12 is the spark plug. Without it, the engine sputters, produces less energy, and accumulates waste that clogs the system. When B12 is present in optimal amounts, the engines run cleanly, efficiently, and powerfully, especially during sleep when they are being serviced and repaired. To get the most from vitamin B12, consider forms like methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin, which are biologically active and easily utilized by cells. Taking B12 in the evening, especially with a source of magnesium and small amounts of protein, supports red blood cell oxygen transport and nighttime energy metabolism. If you are finding this helpful, tap the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. And of course, subscribe if you want more deep dives into nutrition and longevity science. To summarize, vitamin B12 fuels the mitochondria, enabling your muscles to produce and restore energy efficiently. It supports neuromuscular communication, enhances recovery, and prevents the fatigue that often accompanies aging. Without adequate B12, even the best training or supplementation strategy cannot deliver lasting muscle strength. In the next section, we'll examine vitamin E, the antioxidant guardian that protects your muscle membranes, reduces inflammation, and preserves mitochondrial integrity during sleep. Every time your muscle contracts, it produces a surge of reactive oxygen species, free radicals that in small amounts signal growth and adaptation, but in excess lead to oxidative stress and cellular damage. Over time, this oxidative stress weakens muscle fibers, degrades mitochondrial membranes, and accelerates the aging process. This is where vitamin E becomes absolutely essential. Vitamin E is not a single compound. It is a family of 8 fat-soluble molecules, 4 tuberols and 4 tuberols and 4 tuberols and 4 tuberols. Together, they act as one of the body's most powerful lipid antioxidants, guarding the delicate membranes of cells and mitochondria against oxidative damage. And because the body performs much of its membrane repair and lipid turnover during sleep, taking vitamin E at night can align its protective power with the body's most active repair window. Here is what is happening at the cellular level. The outer membrane of every muscle cell and every mitochondrion is composed of phospholipids, fragile structures that are highly susceptible to oxidation. When free radicals attack these membranes, the mitochondria lose their ability to produce energy efficiently. Vitamin E donates electrons to neutralize those radicals, halting the chain reaction of lipid peroxidation and preserving the structural integrity of the membranes. But vitamin E's role extends beyond protection. It also modulates gene expression related to inflammation and muscle repair. Research published in the Journal of Physiology demonstrated that vitamin E supplementation in older adults reduced oxidative stress markers and improved mitochondrial efficiency during recovery after exercise. Another study showed that 2-trainols, the lesser-known members of the vitamin E family, activated genes linked to mitochondrial biogenesis and improved endurance capacity in animal models. Let me break this down with a simple example. Think of your mitochondria as the engines inside every muscle fiber. During the day, those engines run hot, producing energy, and as a byproduct, exhaust fumes, the reactive oxygen species. Vitamin E acts as a high-quality motor oil that prevents the engines from overheating and protects their internal components from wear and tear. When you take it at night, you are giving those engines the antioxidant protection they need while the body's repair crews are already at work. For practical application, vitamin E works best when combined with healthy fats such as olive oil, nuts, or avocado since it is fat-soluble. Natural mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols offer the broadest protection rather than isolated alpha-tocopherol alone. For many individuals, doses in the range of 100 to 200 international units taken in the evening with dinner are sufficient to support muscle health and mitochondrial function. Before we move on, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this, smash that hype button, like, comment, and subscribe. It really supports the channel and helps spread these tools to more people who want to live stronger for longer. To summarize, vitamin E safeguards your muscle and mitochondrial membranes from oxidative stress, enhances recovery, and promotes efficient energy production during sleep. It acts as both a shield and a signal, protecting your cellular machinery while supporting the genetic processes that drive regeneration. In the next section, we'll bring these insights together, connecting vitamin D, K2, B12, and E into one coherent nighttime strategy for muscle renewal, longevity, and vitality, even into your 90s. We have explored the science and mechanisms behind each of the four vitamins, D, K2, B12, and E. Now let us bring it all together into a clear, evidence-based nighttime strategy that supports muscle recovery, mitochondrial health, and longevity. Because knowing what to take matters far less than understanding how and when to take it for maximum physiological impact. Here's the unifying concept. The body follows a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour biological clock that dictates when certain processes peak, from hormone secretion to cellular repair. Nighttime is when the body prioritizes restoration. Growth hormone surges, inflammation decreases, and mitochondria shift from energy production to self-maintenance. By aligning supplementation with this internal rhythm, you can amplify your body's natural regenerative capacity. Here's what is happening at the cellular level.